Welcome to this new episode of KET Talks, the podcast of KET Magazine. I'm Philippe and I'm your host. And today we will talk about the Belgian Pride here in Brussels because we're in May and May is Pride Month here. The last edition was in 2019, which is 2 years ago. Because of the pandemic, of course, there won't be a Pride as we've always known it this year. But the organizers of the Belgian Pride have prepared something. I'm curious to know the program. And the Pride wouldn't be a Pride if our proud Vincent wasn't here. So, hey Vincent, hope you are in a rainbow mood today.
Oh, I'm always in a rainbow mood, Philippe.
Yeah,
That's
even
my
more?
color is the rainbow.
Vjeran, you moved to Brussels right after the last Pride in Brussels 2 years ago. How frustrating is that?
Incredibly frustrating. 2 years here already and haven't seen a gay pride, so I cannot wait for it to happen.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of a pride now. So, and of course, now we will talk about that with our special guest today to talk about the Pride in Brussels here. So we are in the company of Rachael, the coordinator of the Belgian Pride. Welcome to KET Talks.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. And today, as you can see on our YouTube, we are recording not in the living room, but on the Albert Summer Rooftop. It's a fabulous place, and it has a super-sized terrace
Wow.
here. It's on top of Mont des Arts, in the heart of the city. So it's really worth seeing it. So we're also super happy to be here. But we'll also tell you later what will happen here during the Pride weekend. But now, let's talk about Pride and maybe start with the history of the Belgian Pride. So I'm turning my eyes to Vincent. What can we learn from you today?
Well, I just wanted to go back in history to re-explain what is Pride, where it started, because I think sometimes it's a bit confusing. So what happened is in 1969, on the 28th of June, there was a police raid at a bar, a gay bar, a lesbian, gay, or trans bar in New York City, in Christopher Street. But it was something that was happening quite often, nothing extraordinary about it. What changes is that day, instead of going home, the people, where they get out of the bar, they stayed in the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they stayed in the street, and as the police were starting to take some people to a police station, they started to riot and to say enough. So it was not, there's a little bit of
It's normal.
noise around.
It's okay.
It's okay. So what was specific of this moment was this riot. The fact that not for the first time, but that happened at that time in that bar, and that the word spread all around New York City. And during a few days, there were riots in front of the bar, and LGBT people started to say enough.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that a year after, the movement had changed and people started to say, we need to commemorate what happened and to use the dynamic that was created at that moment. And there was the few marches organized in the US. Actually, the first prides, technically, they happened in Chicago and in San Francisco because they happened in the 27th of June, 1970, whereas the first marches in New York and Los Angeles, they happened the day after, the 28th of June. But what we remember mostly is the march in New York to commemorate the anniversary, which was called the Christopher Street Liberation Day. So that was the name of the march, this first march organized. And then the word spread all around the world and marches started to be organized in other countries. So, for example, in 1972 in London, in Europe for the first time, 1977 in Paris, 1979 in Berlin. So we see more and more of this marches organized all around the world.
And
So
what about Belgium? Or are you talking about it later?
I'm
We're
just
getting
going to
there.
talk
Ah,
about
okay,
it.
yes,
Can I ask a question? So
Yes.
when it started in 1972 in London and 77 in France, was it also called like a Mr. Christopher March?
No, it was
It was already Pride?
No, it was lesbian
No?
and gay pride,
Yeah.
gay marches, or
March,
kind of demonstrations. It was more a demonstration
Alright.
than a parade.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what is important, I think, here to understand, because I think for some people, they think that the LGBT movement started in Stonewall Inn that day, and which is not the case. This even changed completely the movement and gave a new momentum, but it was not the beginning of a movement. It's just a turning point
All right.
in the LGBT movement. And in Belgium, you asked Philippe. Well, we have to go back in 1977, so in 1978, sorry, because under the influence of the Rose Zaterdag, that was organized for the first time in 1977 in Amsterdam, well, a group of feminists, left wing, organized a demonstration in Ghent in 1978, which is considered in Belgium as the first march, the first Pride.
I'm so proud when I hear
And
that.
the event was organized in different cities following that first march in Antwerp and Brussels, before some dissensions between the different groups organizing the march.
Oh, well, so very
happened,
Belgian
which
of us.
was, I think it was very common at that time, dissension between different groups in the movement. So for a few years, there was no real march, or it was up and down, until 1990, where it's restarted again properly in Antwerp, if I'm not mistaken. And then there has been a march since 1996 every year in Brussels, that since 2017 is called the Belgian Pride officially. So that's how it came up to Brussels.
Well, we talked about history, but now let's talk about Pride today. So,
the
Rachel,
present.
every year there's a specific theme for the Pride. So, we are curious, what's the theme this year?
So the theme of the Pride is chosen every year by the umbrella organizations that sit on the board of the Belgian Pride. And this year they chose health. Well, actually, it was the theme of last year, but I think, with everything that's happening, it was good to just keep this this theme of the Pride because it's still extremely relevant right now in the current situation that we all find ourselves in today.
Yeah. And so, what's the program then? What did you build about around
So
it?
the program, oh my goodness. So initially, of course, we wanted a parade, but of course we couldn't have that due to the circumstances and due to the measures. So this year we decided to basically do everything online. And I know, well, we know as well at the Belgian Pride that everybody's a bit tired of being online and doing things online, of course, but it was good to have something where we could all, gather around. Okay, we can't take to the streets, but we can come online digitally, and we can actually find each other partially on the streets, because we also have a chalk campaign where you can actually buy chalk from us and actually, become creative, gather your friends, respecting the measures as well, go outside and just show, that, LGBTQI people are still here. We're still alive. And as for what we're doing online, so there's basically 4 events that are happening online. There are more events being added to our list, so definitely go check on the website. But initially, there was an event on the 8th of May, on the 15th of May, and then on the 22nd of May, which basically marks the beginning. It's the day where we would usually have the actual parade.
Okay, so the website is pride.be.
Pride.be.
Okay, so we'll check on there. So, what's the feedback until now? Because we've had already one online event.
Yes. So the first online event was actually quite successful. I'm presenting it myself.
Yeah.
So that was me presenting the event. It was my first time also presenting an event online. It was actually so much fun, because what we decided to do at the Belgian Pride was basically support not only everybody online, but also support the horeca, so the bars and restaurants that are finally now open. Well, the bars, they are. We'll wait for the restaurants. And also support, spoken word artists and artists that are doing. So we also want to support the cultural sector, because we work very much in line with the cultural sector. And we also want to let them know is that we see them, we hear them, and we're also supporting them and everything what they do. So we decided to merge those 3 together to bring actually an online event where we're supporting not only our community, but also the different aspects of life where our community are also present. Because, for us, for LGBTQI people, coming together, having a drink, dancing, also finding community in that is extremely important, and that's something that we recognize.
Okay, and so the build-up of the online events is on Saturday 22nd, where it was supposed to be the big parade.
Yeah, so basically that's what we're going to do. We're going to have an event on the 22nd. We'll have something in the afternoon where it'll be a little bit formal, but also we found a way to actually do a part of the parade and actually take people on a little bit of the parade, somewhere where we'd go. It's very small, but at least it's something. It's better than nothing. And then in the evening, we also have a very joyful and very colorful live events that we'll be streaming from Cabaret Mademoiselle, where we'll also be supporting a number of acts and artists that will be showcasing their art forms.
Amazing. You know that last year we did our little parade in the city by ourselves. We were like
Yes.
6 or
Yeah,
7
we
with
did
our flags.
we did our traditional Pride brunch together, like we do every year before the parade.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
we decided to go and just walk with flags.
And it was what 6, 7 of us, and I remember so it's exactly a year ago now walking down here Mont des Arts, and I was
Yeah.
only imagining how it would look like originally. We were waving the flag. People were looking at us just passing. They're like, "It was supposed to be Pride, guys. It was supposed to be Pride."
Oh, well, that's so good.
Yeah.
At least, it's good to come on the streets, even if we can't organize the Pride. I think it's always, not the Pride, but the parades. I think
Yeah.
it's still good to let people know that we're here, that we still
Yeah.
exist, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah, because
and that we want to do something.
Yeah, because I think what you say and the fact to have online event is a bit of an issue with Pride, because the whole point of Pride is, for me, it's like a giant coming out.
Yes.
It's the visibility of our
Visibility.
community
Yeah.
in the streets
Of
and showing the
course.
people that we exist, we are here.
Yeah.
So of course, when we don't have our spaces and our Pride, the whole meaning in a way of Pride is a bit,
Well,
a
I
bit,
heard rumors
touched.
that there could be something happening in September. So, do you have something to tell us?
We want an
Please?
exclusive.
An exclusive. Oh my goodness. I don't want to get into trouble with our subsidy givers.
Okay, then just between us squirrel friends.
Between us squirrel friends. So basically, we are still very hopeful to organize something in September. What we did understand with, the entire pandemic is that the Pride can no longer just be one event in the year. Is that we're
Yes.
going to have to start spreading ourselves throughout the year and reminding people, just like you said before, like we have to have that visibility. We have to have it online as well as offline. So basically in September, we would like to organize a type of festival where we are also supporting the cultural sector and artists, but also making sure that we can still come together physically. How that's being put together, I'll still keep keep a little bit quiet on that. But basically, we would, if we were able to, we would think about organizing a type of mini parade
Right.
as well to
Let's
mark
keep
Let
our
us
fingers
know.
crossed.
Let us know as soon as you can tell us something, even before all the rest.
we're trying.
Cool.
So the
So
idea
finger
is
crossed.
there. Yeah.
Finger crossed.
Yeah.
Now, there's also other questions that a lot of people ask about the Pride, and the one I want to ask, because we've seen some Prides in other countries, in other cities, and often they include commercial partners.
Yes.
We don't see that often, or many commercial partners in the Belgian Pride. Can I ask you why?
Well, it's also extremely important when you go about choosing commercial partners is asking yourself the right questions, and asking yourself the question is what are they actually doing for LGBTQI people?
Preach.
So for me, it's extremely important, and also for the Belgian Pride, anybody that we get into business with, that they're also doing their utmost best to make sure that LGBTQI people inside their organization are being taken care of, that there is also thought for them, that there's also thought for that diversity. And okay, we're talking about LGBTQI people, but it's an extremely broad demographic. It's a very large group of people. So when we want to work with commercial partners, we also want to be sure that they're not just utilizing us, not tokenizing,
Pinkwashing,
Of course.
pinkwashing,
Yeah.
and tokenizing us in order to push their brand, because it's a two-way street.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So it's very much these types of partnerships we take extremely seriously, and so it takes a lot of time in order to be sure that we're working with someone who has the same ideals, the same morals, and also has the same objectives as we do. So it takes a bit of time, but
Yeah.
of course, we have to be sure.
Ooh, it's a
Ooh,
bit
the wind is
windy,
back.
but it's
Good.
fine.
It's the terrace.
It's
It's
the
okay.
terrace.
And
It's
it's all
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Well,
Anyway. That's just
We
us.
got this on camera.
we hope we'll
got
get through
It's
the
okay.
storm.
Camera.
It's okay.
But let's continue on commercial partners. It's of course very important that all the companies and brands that will join the Pride maybe one day have the same values. But
Yeah.
are we helping them maybe to get there, like to improve their HR services, to be more inclusive?
Yeah, so in order for them to even partake at the parades, which is not always a sure stance that they actually will partake is that they have to do a test.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Oh, wow.
organizations have to do a test, which is called the click test. And it's done through Click, and they basically ask them to fill out an extremely vigorous form, asking them questions like, what are you doing? What are your plans? And on this, we actually give them a grade. And if they pass the grade, then we will actually sit down with our board members and ask them, do we allow them to actually partake at the parade?
Okay.
So this is also something that we're doing on our side to make sure that these organizations are aware that they're asking themselves the right questions with regards to LGBTQI inclusive.
So if I can say, this is why, from what I've heard, I haven't taken part in Brussels Pride, but I've heard that it's quite similar to Zagreb Pride, and it's more have this cozy, homey feeling of everybody participating in the city, participating like a family event. I believe, well, I'm not going to call out names and point fingers in some other prides, but I've seen some other prides outside of Brussels, and it's so much better to have companies that are participating in Pride that actually do share values with us than just put a floaty in front that is going to be from some high-tech company, and then you will have this gigantic sponsored bus that is just going to carry the name of the company, but for which thing exactly? Just so you can have commercial partners and sponsors. I believe that this way, the way you're doing it, like, I'm giving you a thumbs up and an applause at the same time. Like, well done.
Thank you, because it's a lot of work. Like it is, it's something that we have to start like super early in the year, like the year prior, of course, in order for us to get to a point where we can say, okay, you can partake. We'll also look at what they've done in the past, if they've signed previous charters, if they've been active in other cities in Europe. So we take all of this on board in order for us to move forward and actually do something that has substance. Like that, at the end of the day, is extremely important for us that we have partners that have substance, that actually factually want to do something about LGBTQI inclusivity.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it goes to a wider question about what is Pride today, maybe, and how different audiences participate. And for me, in the last years in Pride, I see a kind of maybe divisions, and I'm talking about Brussels, but of a Pride between the community and the importance it has for the community and the audience, or the people who are there, who see it as a party day, as a fun day, which is super nice. And my question is always how such an event can be maybe used to do more education, or to pass more messages, because that's a bit the feeling I have sometimes with the Belgian Pride, that there are a lot of associations, everybody's walking, but everybody's talking about their issue in a way, and sometimes I don't see a message that, or I'm wondering what the people who are watching and who are not in the community and who are potential allies, what do they get from it? Do they get only the fun of it? Do they get any message, and how could we make our messages more clear and gain them as support and as allies?
Well, I think you'd have to ask them, because I cannot. I literally cannot ask. I can't answer that question. I do have a level of objectivity with that regards, and I think it's also good to understand that during the Pride or during the parade is that we're showcasing a lot of aspects, a lot of facets of our community, because we're a very broad community. We're intersectional. There's a lot of us doing a lot of different things. That's different parts of our identity, and it's good to include all of that. But it's also good to showcase all of that. But remember, we only have one day, and then we have to celebrate everybody on that day, and then we also have to convey a message. And I think, like just what you were saying is basically, people who are on the outside looking in, is that they get the party day feel, they get it, it's a party, but then on top of that they also get certain messages. So you'll have like people who are without the right papers, you'll have people who are LGBTQI and parents, you'll have people who are from a multitude of identities that are being showcased throughout that entire day during the entire parade. So people looking in, they're gonna see, oh wow, LGBTQI people are actually like this, or they're actually like me, or they have something in common with me. So that's what I'm hoping that they're getting from the entire day. And then on top of that, I hope that they're understanding the theme, because sometimes that as well gets lost in the beautiful colors of all of the people present, of course. But it's also good to have the celebration. It's good for us to come together, because at least we can do that. And I'm I'm very much for having allies because we need allies. We wouldn't have come this far if we didn't have allies. But I'm not here to convince people to be my ally. Either you're my ally or either you're not my ally. That's it. There's no in between. And I cannot convince you. If you, like, again, you're a human being. You have choices. You make choices. Either, you know, you're in support of me or either you're not. It's, for me, it's very difficult with regards to this allyship, because when we talk about allyship and when we talk about LGBTQI, and even before, we're like, should we add an A or a H in there in order to include them? For me, it's like, no. I'm sorry. I am sorry. You cannot add an, even though on the American version of the LGBTQI acronym, they did add a double A, which is the allies. And I'm just like, no. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in adding an extra A for allies. I don't believe in adding a H for hetero. It's not, I'm sorry. We live in a hetero world. We live in your world. We're asking you to help this community. And there's many different ways in which we're including allies and heterosexual people. So I don't think that adding an actual letter is going to help any of us.
Yeah, because they still will not become a part of the community. Even if you add this A or H, they're not going to become a part of the community. They will still be the allies that we definitely need to spread the word and to understand all the issues of the LGBTQI plus community, but they will not become a part of it.
I have a question about the...
we could have a very long discussion
that's
about
true.
For me, it's more, I mean, I understand your point, and I think at the end, for me, the question is, do you share my vision of the world? You know, do you understand my point of view? And if you do, then in a way you're part of my community. Yeah. You know. So it's a different perspective, and the fact that they are in the acronym or not. I mean, for me, it's I don't care. It's just that they have. It's also to understand that they have an important role to play because we cannot do it ourselves.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so that's.
Let's talk now a bit about the criticism on the parades and also from the people who are in our community. Some people say that parades are counterproductive. They say that when you see a gay man walk with feathers everywhere and in all colors, that it's counterproductive, that we don't feel like in the same vibe, that it's not something that people need to see on TV. What do you say about those criticisms?
Well, I don't need to see heterosexuality every day. But I do.
Me neither. Because we do. No, I
don't need to see it. I don't need to see heterosexual couples hand in hand in the streets, and I don't need to see them every day depicted on TV. I don't need to see them being always depicted as the norm. So if we can do something about that, then yeah, we can get rid of the pride.
Sure. But I think it's especially sad that people from our community say this is not a good thing. You cannot do this on the street because it's not.
Yeah, I don't understand, but I think that also has something to do with the level of internalized homophobia that we are also victims of, and I think there's not enough given to that actual conversation, because the fact that you can actually say, oh, well, I don't like the parade, I don't like the pride, the fact that you can actually say that out aloud is because of the prides of the past and of yesteryears, and because of the people that were loud and that were extravagant and that were living their actual truth. It's because of those people that you can actually come out and have this opinion and not be stoned for it, not be killed for it, not be persecuted for it. So I understand to a certain extent, okay, maybe the pride is not your party. I can totally understand. You don't have to come. You will get an invitation from me every year. I will send the pigeon to your door. You will get the invitation regardless. You don't have to come. But don't try and destroy something that we're trying to build up, which helps so many other people, which helps so many other up and coming LGBTQI people in order to get that visibility, in order to get that community, in order to see themselves, in order to pass from it being imagination to it being something tangible and something real. Don't destroy that.
You know, I agree completely. And there's also voices who say, but why do you still need a pride in Belgium? You have it all.
We don't have it all.
Don't.
we don't have it all.
So much happened. I mean, we lost a member a few months ago just because he was gay, and we lose people on daily basis harassed. I mean, come on, we were harassed 2 months ago on the street in the city of Brussels, called names, holding hands.
Yeah.
So
I think there is kind of mismatch between the rights that were acquired by LGBTQI plus people that are better than before, and from people outside of the community say, oh, but it's all good because now you can get married, now you can adopt children, now you can change your gender on your ID, now you know, things like this. But I think the problem is that they don't understand what is it from our point of view every day to be an LGBTQI plus person.
Or where a lot of straight fake allies, not the real allies, like to draw a line like, oh yeah, but the trans issue, that's where you draw. It's not like you got rights for the LGB part of the LGBTQI plus community, and then you draw the line and you see, now this is where we stop giving people rights. And we definitely need pride for all the other people within our community.
Yeah, I think it's a double-sided issue. If we talk about the people within our own communities who are saying this, like, okay, we already have all of these rights, I usually ask myself, like, but who are these people? And first I look at those particular people who are saying these actual things. So for me, when it is most of the time when I hear this, it usually tends to be those that are already in power, those that can already, that are already taking advantage of their rights, and they can also switch between the LGBTQI world and the hetero world. So they're having the best of both worlds at the same time. So these are the people who are like, oh no, but we have everything, so we don't need to do anything. And even though, like as you were saying before, yes, we have, we've got the right to be married now. We have the right to adopt children. We have the right to change our name on our ID cards and our gender on our ID cards if we choose to. But the issue is even with those rights, there are still issues. Adopting a child is not as easy as you would think, especially when you're an LGBTQI person, be a man, a woman, cisgendered or trans, or a non-binary person. Adopting a child is really not that easy. Even getting married in certain communes, provinces, it's really not that easy. Again, it's not straightforward. Changing your name in different communes costs more money, and it's not straightforward. It's not straightforward. And if you understand anything about Belgium, you know that our political system, and it took us a long time to get a government, and now we do have a federal government, and now that everything's going a bit more streamlined, but it took us a long time, and so there's lots of long waiting lists. When we talk about, you can have the physical, the actual operation in order to change your sexual characteristics. There are waiting lists of up to 2 years. There's not hospitals everywhere in Belgium where you can actually do this. There's a couple of specialized hospitals and specialized doctors that can actually perform these operations, but that means that the waiting lists are extremely long, and especially during COVID, the waiting list got longer. When people talk about, we don't need pride, no, we do need pride. We do need to draw that visibility. We do have to use pride as a medium of conversation, of communication with our political system, with our politicians, to also hold them accountable. Everybody that partakes at the pride, I hold them accountable. I'm like, last year you signed this charter. What are you actually doing this year?
Exactly.
So. I still believe that prides are extremely important and still need to exist, because if I need to see heterosexuality everywhere, then until the day that we get homosexuality everywhere, then we're gonna.
And maybe to add to that, because you talked about the local situation, but it's also a matter of global situation. And this few last days, we had a gay man being burned alive in one of the Baltic countries. I'm not sure. We had an Iranian gay man, which was beheaded by people from his own family in Iran. So these are the situations that occur everywhere on the planet still. And the situation might be better here, but we need a lot of more awareness to change the situation of other people also beyond Belgium, because the whole movement is also a global movement. And
but even here, it hasn't been that long ago since what happened in Vjeran. So for me, it's like, how can you even say that we don't need a pride anymore? We already know. And also it questions, because a lot of the a lot of the abuse that we receive, it's also just internalized and normalized. So you get catcalled on the streets, or you get like homophobic slurs, you just screamed at you on the streets. A lot of people are like, okay, there's nothing that I can do about that, when we should be actually going to the police and reporting it. These are just things that we need to keep aware of, and actually, as you said, build more awareness and actually do something about it. Yeah.
Ooh, it's a bit rainy now.
Ooh, that's
but
rain.
it's the summer.
the Belgian-
We're getting the full Brussels experience
Yeah.
here.
But you know what?
Beautiful.
In 30 minutes we'll be sunny
I
again,
know.
so we will be warm. Let's talk now a bit about the organization behind the Pride. So
Yes.
can you explain us the structure? Because we never know, why is it the Belgian Pride and not the Brussels Pride and blah, blah, blah. So Rachel, just explain it like simply for me that I can understand.
Simple in layman
Yeah.
terms. What is the Belgian Pride? How is it actually structured internally? So the Belgian Pride consists of the 3 umbrella organizations. So that's Arc-en-Ciel Wallonie, Savaria, and Rainbow House Brussels.
Yeah.
And also together with Syndiqué, which is the HORECA Federation of LGBTQI commerçants here in Brussels. And yeah, that's basically our board, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's basically the boards. There we go. I've got everybody. Sometimes we have experts, external experts come if we have any questionings, but for the rest, that's basically the board of the Belgian Pride. That's how it's put together.
Okay. I have one question to move on. Like, Vjeran, you never seen the Brussels Pride. Do you know what's the average attendance of the Pride since 2015?
Wow, that's a great question. I have no clue. It's like 10,000, 15,000?
No, that was like in the early 2000s.
What? 50, 60?
Higher.
70,
When is the
80,
wind is going higher too?
90,
100.
100,000 people?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it
Good
became
for
a
you,
big event.
Belgium.
Yeah. It's really fun. And so, next week there won't be a parade, so not 100,000
No
people in the
100,000
street of
people in the
Brussels,
streets.
but
No.
it will be sunny on this rooftop bar here. You cannot believe it now because it's raining awfully, and we'll have a flu next the coming
And
day.
now you can see the lights so much better.
We have the Pride lights
it's rainbow
here.
lights. And why?
Yes.
Because next weekend, on Saturday 22nd and Sunday 23rd of May, there will be this Pride weekend here at Albert Summer Rooftop, and it's a collaboration between Spec, Gay Haze, Cree Future Club, and Albert. So it will open at 3 p.m. and close at 10 p.m. I know that's early, but it's better than nothing. So who's coming? Lift your hands. Yay!
Well,
But and don't forget your sunscreen
Yeah.
because it will be hot and sunny. Let's hope that. But no dancing, people. So it's only sitting and tables of 4. But that's how it goes, and
Still
we
better
won't
than
complain.
nothing.
But talking about dancing. You can dance at home, and for that we have the advice that we can follow of Vjeran. He has this playlist on Spotify.
That's how we switch the music.
But yeah, we switched. It was a
Love
nice smooth switch, huh? So Vjeran, you have prepared some Pride music recommendations for today.
Well, we can talk about 2 things actually that happen usually in non-COVID times that happen in the month of May, which is Pride and...
Eurovision.
Oh my God, he will get crazy. He will get.
I know that
crazy.
here around this table there are some people that are following it religiously.
Okay.
every minute these days.
So all right, before I give you this week's recommendation, Vincent, what are your top picks of Eurovision that is happening next week?
Well,
Give me 3.
3 is gonna be hard. Well, this year is very special for me because I'm French, and for the first time since I was born, maybe, no, for the first time in 20 years, France is among the favorites. So that's why I cannot sleep at night these days.
You cannot sleep at night. Oh,
Oh my
Almost.
God.
No, so of course I like the French song. I like the French artist because I think she's a wonderful girl and with a wonderful message and all support of women's rights also, which is very nice. But there are a lot of strong competitors. I mean the Destiny from Malta. I like the
Alright.
song and also the message is very positive. I like Lithuania very much.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
my
like
favorite.
to dance, it's dance alone, dance alone. So.
Rachel, have you heard songs?
No.
No, me neither.
I am no.
Well, thank you for the recommendations, Vincent. I have to say that unbiased, my favorite is Croatia. It's
But
incredible.
it's a good one. You're
I really
right.
hope we just get it to the final. I just
You
hope
will. You
okay.
will.
You know
you're
one thing
you're
is
in the
crossed.
tricky semi-final, but I think
Yeah.
you're gonna make
And
it.
I think we won't be able to be proud of Belgium.
Belgium might be.
I haven't heard our
No, it's
song.
boring.
There's
Oh,
a
really?
reason why you
In
didn't
my
hear it.
opinion, in my
There's
opinion.
a reason.
No, it's a
tea,
good
no
song,
shade.
but might not go in the finals. We'll see on Tuesday.
Well, switching from the spectacle of Kitsch and Rainbow, we're gonna give you some more Kitsch and Rainbows. Well, last week we recommended two Brussels artists. We recommended Renel Bacol, we recommended Jurigi, so we hope you gave a
Jerky.
listen to them. And we already have recommended not one but four drag queens at once, singing nothing less but Sing Sang Song Bing Bang Bong.
Ding dang
What?
dong. UK
Oh my
hon.
God.
in the colors of a rainbow, in the pride that is happening this month, we are recommending yet again drag queen, but in the seas, in an ocean full of drag queens that came out from the RuPaul's Drag Race, like and that are trying to be singers, well, recording artists. We have Alaska, Trixie, Shea Coulee. We'll go back to UK and recommend Jodie Harsh. And Jodie is not the one who is whose fame got into the light because of RuPaul's Drag Race or anything related. She actually started by organizing a party in London and having people coming like Amy Winehouse, Alexander McQueen, and then she started collaborating and doing remixes of people like Lady Gaga. She worked with Sophie. She worked with Charlie XCX, Mark Ronson, Fergie, and her parties in London became so popular that Lady Gaga herself premiered the song Perfect Illusion back in 2016, I believe, in one of her parties. So yeah, we have to acknowledge the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent that takes to get out and to become a superstar doing remixes as a drag queen. We recommend listening to her house music with a gay circuit-esque Vogue chanting kicks. And her remixes cannot be missed on any. Oh my God, we're gonna drown.
Full
We're drowning
spring.
here in Brussels.
Full Brussels
Wow.
Springs experience.
Yes.
Well, to fast forward, recommend you giving a
Rachel is getting wetter and wetter.
listen to her songs Paris and Fascinating Lights. All right, it's on our podcast. It's on our playlist on Spotify, together with the last episode of KET podcast. So give it a try, give it a listen.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Vjeran, for that. So, the skies, well, they are opening up and falling on our heads, and this is like also the end of KET Talks.
Honestly, no, but
What?
mark my words, it will be sunny in 2 hours.
There will.
It
will
will.
be
Yeah.
sunny.
There's gonna be sun. We always know this.
Yeah, this is like this is Brussels. So,
Yes.
so we are at the end.
Oh.
We're at here. We've arrived, and we are completely
Oh,
wet, so we better
no.
to stop. So a big thank you to Albert Summer Rooftop for hosting us, and also Visit Brussels for supporting the magazine and a podcast. But a special thank you for you, Rachel, for being with us today.
Thank you
you,
very
Thank
much.
you.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Also, thank you, merci Vincent. Voilà, Vjeran.
You're welcome.
And I hope that you too who are listening to us will join us to all these rainbow events. So
And
check
join
out
the online Pride event on the 22nd.
exactly. Check it on
Yes.
pride.be.
Please, please, please come and see this online event. Even if you like, definitely even if you're watching the Eurovision, just switch over 5 seconds to just support us. and
Yes,
support.
It's a
definitely.
deal.
Uh,
Yeah, and happy Pride to everyone.
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride. Bye.